Start recording. All right. Now.
You had to get that coffee.
Had to. Ben, how's the new crib?
I'm doing good. I'm still sitting on like a outdoor lawn chair. So
Oh my God.
I don't have the chair yet. I'm trying to get my screen to. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Shit is bugging.
All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. All right. So again, like I had mentioned before, again, a couple days up, hard to really initiate a lot of longs here, but a few sectors that did kind of pop up. You know, financials still look pretty good through these all-time highs. Just a very nice consolidation up here for these last few months that we can see here. The consumer discretionaries definitely look probably the best among all the sectors, at least in my opinion. But again, it's pretty hard to buy anything up 5 days. But again, the sector we want to focus on. The other last thing, just quickly sector-wise, I thought was pretty interesting, was just utilities continuing to get smoked. Again, when people are fearful in the market, they tend to run to utilities. So seeing that utilities have not bounced even the slightest is definitely a good sign for us. So into some of the names I'm keeping an eye on. Really, the one major stock that I talked about in the big picture, and a bunch of numbers are still in this, is 8ZNP up through 112. Since I'm getting it, we're looking to get in now, I'll be keeping it top first, kind of 108 for now. That's the main order I have in. A couple of names that I have on the radar this W day. Again, it'll probably take some time with this earnings flag. You can see Len starting to base out here, so we can look for probably an entry up through 102 and eventually up through 110 in time. Let's see what else. Other ones. We mentioned HCMP. This MU up through 76 kind of has been basing out here these last few months for eventually move back up to this 96 area. This FFIV up through 216, and you can probably even sneak in through 210, but again, still a little bit wide. A few more. AMAT up through 146, 5. This RHI, nice little earnings flag up to this 104 area. And then CBRE up through 100 versus 92. This one probably need a little bit of time. FRT up through 124. And that was it. Again, a couple of ones, Ruku, and some of the other ones probably will still need some time, but those are the main ones I'll be focusing on, for the week ahead. Now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and have it if you have a couple you want to go over, then you can.
Zoom's kind of bugging right now, so I can't really share my screen, but if you guys just want to pull up charts, or I can actually just post them in the chat and you'll be able to kind of see what I'm looking at.
I'll keep sharing mine. I'll type up what you're
okay, perfect. So yeah, if you can pull up Yeti, I don't know if you have it up or not, like my Zoom is just frozen. So
okay. Can you guys see my screen again?
Yeah.
Okay.
cool. So I'm looking at this Yeti that's kind of been basing for the last couple of weeks, and it's giving me this similar pattern to Snap, how it's like it keeps shaking people out at the support level in this like 94 area. So I had a nice shakeout on Friday with a decent reversal back into like the top half of the day. And then if you pull up Snap, you can kind of see it did the same thing. Doesn't mean it's going to do exactly the same thing, but it kind of did had similar action earlier last week, and then obviously ripped through resistance. So I'm kind of looking for that same kind of setup in Yeti. Another one that I really like that's setting up is this DoorDash. It's just so relatively strong. With the SPY just kind of been super choppy, but this Dash is just nonstop grinding higher. Broke out of a nice base at 195, and now it's starting to consolidate under that 230. Really nice shakeout on Thursday of last week to go under that first moving average and bounced right back. So I'm looking for this to tighten up a little bit more and then buy through 230 in time. Another one I'm looking at is this Doximity, DOCS, Ben, if you want to pull that one up. Inside day on Friday, last week was just a really nice consolidating week. It held that 84 support area that used to be previous resistance. So I'm looking for a move through 92 in time. Again, it's a little wide. I don't really want to buy 92 with a stop under 82 because $10 on a $90 name is kind of a lot. So I'm waiting for this to tighten up a little bit more, maybe buy off support. If it does come down today, can look for that shakeout area. And then another one that I really like is this Anthem Inc. ANTM through
Haven't we lost you?
You lose your head?
I think so. Yeah, so it looks like he's looking for Anthem up to this probably 382 area versus 372.
Yep.
Again, up through 400. This is all something we've been keeping on for quite some time. It looks really good. So definitely looks pretty solid. If you guys just keep this thing simple, since my screens are recording. Mark, you want to go next? I'll just keep typing up the name just so it's a little bit quicker. Mark, can you hear me? I guess you can. All right, Mo, you have any couple names you want to go over?
Yeah, I got one of my top names is AMD through this 107.50 area.
Okay.
You would have to, I mean, the real out, I know there is some support at like 103.79, but I think the real out would be probably towards 100. So maybe if it gets a little tighter under that 107.50, we have to see it build some kind of like a ceiling before it just rips off. And then another favorite name that was already on the shakedown is Bros, obviously because it's an IPO. And then if it takes out, highs at 55, we could see it retest that 62 area. But again, you would have to give it
10%.
Yeah. You have to give it to at least 48. So that would be more like a momentum trade, but those two are definitely on my radar.
Cool.
Going into today's session.
Nice. Mark, can you hear us still? Or you? No, I can't. Dennis, you looking at anything? Let's see. Dylan, can you hear me? I'll ask him.
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's going on, buddy? Is there any names you're looking at for the week ahead?
Not really, no, just holding.
All right. Let's see, Drew, what about you?
I actually had the exact same ones as Mo. I really liked Bros, which I think was on the shakedown. And I like AMD also through the 107.50. I kind of think it could pull back to, like he said, 103, 103.50, but I like it through that 107 area. And then I'm kind of liking Etsy for a continued move through 224, 225, but that may not quite be there yet.
Yeah, I think for Etsy, I think you might almost want to just wait for like this 230.
Okay.
But again, like, I've been in this on M1, so I've just been basically buying it every single week. But this seems like there's something that it's just a move to retest. It's just like if it, when it gets to 250, that's just kind of the move it's been on, just like we saw kind of with CRM.
Yeah.
Puts in its all-time high, pulls in bases, and it just like eventually gets back to highs and retest.
Okay.
Where this is kind of like where like Etsy is now. It gets close to that area, but it's might need to still, mess with people before it gets that like clear run up there. But definitely with you. I think this looks, any of these names as it gets closer towards that retest, it's like there's just a magnet towards it where it's just going to get there. We don't know exactly when it's going to get there.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm kind of keeping my eye on Uber because of like that news. Like I'm already in Uber. So it's just about holding it now.
Yeah. So I think this is another one in M1, and this this downtrend break, this thing's been, pretty beat up the, last few months as it kind of came back to this, earnings little earnings gap area, but now that it broke, especially on this crazy amount of volume, that
Yeah.
especially if we're in, it's like really anything even under 42, I feel like is still keeping it like kind of tight. Like this is another example where really it's like it's going to have to work its way back to 64 at that eventual retest. And it's
Yeah.
going to take months. It's not going to get there in a couple of days. But now
Yeah.
that this like harder downtrend is now broken, now it's just working its way back up to that retest. So if you're already in it and you have a good price in it, it's just definitely trying to be patient with this as much as possible until we get to 64. And then, you know, if you want to take some profits and, you know, make 50%, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
That's it. I mean, I don't know. When I kind of look around, I'm not that excited about jumping into anything too quickly this morning. And I'll just keep clicking around to build a list over the week.
Mm-hmm. Carl, I see you snuck in here. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at
I've got two things. One is I'm kind of following with Drew on that. I'm not really looking to jump into anything. My market condition sheet is checked off unknown. I just don't know which direction we go here. A lot of the things we're looking at, like AMD, for example, is on a 5-day run. You know, really the buy on that was, you know, 108 versus or 104, 105 versus 100, and then maybe you sell 110 to 112 plus. I just don't, you know, I'm still waiting for things to give me better entries. The one thing that I have noticed is the industrials. When we had this pullback last week, the industrials were like the first ones to turn. And some of those have met some kind of, I don't know, horizontal layers like Lockheed Martin, NOC. You know, some of the big names are just kind of starting to bounce up off support. There's one name that I'm put a feeler on and I might add to if I like the price action. It's a smaller cap in this space. It's KTOS, KTOS. I see a double bottom setup off 22. I'm kind of buying 23 versus 22. I'm looking to sell like 25, 26, 27 plus.
Cool. All right. Mark, can you hear us now? I just saw your message.
Yeah, I can hear now. Sorry. I was messing with the voice. No, well, pretty the same you were looking, guys. Another names perhaps I found is just this plan, ANA plan in this pullback to the 21 MA. And I don't know if I can share the screen or
I got
you
it
can
pulled up for
find.
you.
Yeah, you got the ticker.
That's a nice
Okay.
chart.
Yeah, so this plan is looking pretty nice. If it's building up, the setting up during this pullback, so yeah, it makes sense. Also, this swap Shockwave Medical SWAB also is setting up a flag
Oh, what was it? What was the ticker?
SWAB. No, B, the other B. Sorry, my
Oh,
English.
B?
Yeah, swap.
There we go.
So it's setting up a flag right there, and it's quite building a nice flag there. So probably along the week could define a bit. I don't know. And so the other name I found is this CERT, CERT. It have also a nice chart. The weekly is also pretty nice. And it's setting up for the next move up to resistance.
So I really like the CRT. We've been dropping a couple in some of the newsletters. I don't know if you guys know this, but we're working on another handbook. And one of the lessons in particular is on buying IPOs through the all-time high. So the CRT is like a perfect example. If this up through 40,
Yeah.
again, you're probably looking at it through maybe 37, like a tighter entry, maybe versus 35, but this 40 level in CRT is just like a very high probability trade with with IPOs, but it's not necessarily like a swing trade. It's not like we be looking to buy 40 versus 38. It's like, all right, this is setting up through 40, pulled back to 24. It probably has like at least a $16 measured move. This has been setting up for about a year. The breakout should be about a year. So it's almost more so with these setups is somewhere like M1, where you can put it there for at least a year, and it's not really giving it a hard stop. It's not buying 40 versus 36. It's just giving it time. When we look at names, remember Snapchat, when it finally took out that IPO high, again, it took multiple years for it to kind of base and finally go. And almost a year later, it's about 100% higher. And in the lesson, we go through a bunch of other examples that kind of show, when the names can base out for a year or 2 years or 3, when it finally does take out that IPO high, that's usually the easiest time to get in if you're looking to hold it for the longer term. And that's just giving it months and months of time versus just a hard dollar amount stop. So I just noticed that that's a relevant lesson. Hopefully we'll have this next book done in a month or two, and we can get out to you guys and a couple new stories and stuff.
Yeah, it looks also to keep building a position because it looks like a magnet to that 40 area. So yeah, it's just starting to build a position in order to have some stock when it broke that 40 level.
Yeah. Any other ones you're looking at?
Yeah, well, I have all the names, but yeah, you've been keep posting them. Also, this ZI, Zoom Info Technologies. No, ZE, sorry. Yeah, this one. It's just breaking the IPO high, that 65 level. It's working on the first flag over the IPO high. So I'm guessing if we could find a tight entry here to just enter the name and keep it while it's pushing up. I don't know. How do you see that one?
This is again, like we kind of show do that IPO high, but that's when we want to start getting involved in it. And you can see now it's like it hasn't, even if you were to trade it perfectly, it's like it'd be hard to kind of get out for like a substantial loss at this point. Like it just hasn't really gone, below 64, more than like $1. So if you can find an entry to kind of get it for now for 62, definitely can, see what you're looking at there. Definitely looks good. So I mean, we see we got you back on. Was there any other names you were looking at that you wanted to go over before we lost you?
What was the name?
No, I was seeing if Heaven can hear me, but it seems like he's still in the dark. Is there anyone else that wants to go over anything while we got everybody on here?
Yeah, I might have something for you guys. A plan, PLAN. It's absolutely doing nothing the past days, and 66 some looks good.
Nice. Yeah, we actually, before you got on, I think Mark was talking about plan, but yeah, it definitely looks very good. Good eye. Anybody else?
Yeah, I like this LEN and also CBS.
Len?
Yeah.
We're looking at Len up through.
Maybe a feeler to 101 and like kind of load up on 102.
Okay. Would you be giving this still versus 95, or would you be looking to kind of
versus that pivot? Like what is it? Green Dojo. 195, yeah.
and you also mentioned you said CDS?
It's wedging.
Yeah, the CDS actually looks pretty good. What's your game plan for CBS?
I was planning through like 86 versus 82.
Okay. Pretty good. All right, let's see. Anybody else?
Ben, I was just gonna say to Carl's point with industrials, if you just pull up like XLI, and you could see it made a move from support, trying to break back.
Yeah, this is.
And I know you're like,
they've just been like flagging out for the last couple of months. So it's like these are when they want to go.
yeah.
Nice support behind it to hold it up.
I'm trying to just be where that like solid price action is. I mean, a lot of stuff, the industrials bounced pretty hard, but they were also the first to break down.
Yeah.
Someone also mentioned Nike. Chat on here. Yes, I'm not really. So Moose mentioned Nike. It is a little tough here though, because it's like this was, and again, this I remember Mo, you mentioned it, and I remember specifically like, oh, you probably should just move on from it because it was just extended, but
Yeah, it was right through the 155 after the earnings break, and then it fucking ripped it, and it never came back. And now now this is where I would not want to buy Nike here. It's now you just want to see it, kind of go sideways a little, and see it form some sort of resistance and support, because it could just gap down today, or you just don't know. Right now isn't the time to buy it.
Yeah, this part is like the easy trade, and then this is
Right.
this is like when it just gets difficult, and it's like when we miss this part is like when we want to get it here, and it's like it's just often more work than really necessary. Again, the first retest of support is obviously a higher probability support buy than the third or fourth or fifth attempt, but this is just not the easiest time to get back into Nike.
Yeah, for sure.
Even
It
like with
needs
AMD,
3 months to figure itself out.
this move, it was like in here, people were trying to like find setups in it, and it's just like this is just like harder stuff to kind of get involved with. But then as it starts to create more of a pattern, then maybe maybe you can buy up through through 107 versus 100. But this was like the easiest trade, and then it's like these just become those harder trades where we don't want to get beat up in them when they're just kind of bouncing around. So does anybody else have anything before the market opens and we end this call?
Yeah. Go ahead.
AVGO
What
through
was it?
511. AVGO
AVGO.
through 511 against that 500 area.
I like it. So yeah, definitely this 500 or 490. That's kind of probably like the main one. And then getting in here is kind of like one of those freshman mentioned. I think it was Mark, one of those the recent IPOs that already took out the high and looking to get in, like that second kind of entry. But yeah, I mean, it's all-time high. It's an expensive name. There's no reason why this couldn't be $1,000 stock a year from now. There's no reason why it couldn't be a $600 stock a few months from now. It's just getting the right entry, which goes to the all-time high, which is what you said, and then just getting into proper room. Give it first. That 490. Doesn't seem. It seems definitely worth a shot. All right, let's see, QLYS. So Moose, I don't know if I guess your thing's muted. This is one we were watching for quite some time up to this 108. I personally missed this through 108. So for me, I'm not too excited for this entry up here, but I do see what you're looking at. You can see this a little flat here. It's attempted a couple of times. So if you're looking to buy up through this 120, I guess you kind of have to give it versus 113 for now, 112. But this is another one where it's like it's just working its way back to this retest. It's like 148, and it's like this was the base, this is the breakout, and it just will should continue this trend and work its way back up there. Just how it gets there and when it gets there, that's always like the $1 million question. So I definitely see what you're looking at. Definitely makes sense.
One comment at Qualies, that gave like a textbook earning flag entry. I think it was on the 24th, that green bar on the 24th of August. That would have been a fantastic entry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
This is another perfect example of like when we like I know for me personally, I watched this name for literally, February, March, April, May, June, and like just got tired of watching it, base under one way and kind of forgot about it. And then lo and behold, months later it starts to go. And that's when it's, even for us, when we start to overly watch a name so much, it's like we almost have to kind of just set the alert, like set the 108 alert, move on. And then when it finally alert goes off, then look again. But again, always easier said than done. Let's see, Eric mentioned this SEBG. So Eric, you want to unmute yourself and walk us through this, or you want me to just do it?
Yeah, so it's on radar for now. I'm not necessarily trading it against 280. It's at support right now for a support buyback. I'm more looking of like a wedge instead of yeah, right there.
There you go. I see what you're looking at. Cool.
And 280 should be like the spot to get something.
Like it. Let's see
Oh,
how-
another one I'm looking at is MDB. I don't know if anyone mentioned that one, but textbook earnings flag.
Yeah.
Really strong gap up. It's held it these last 4 weeks. Kind of reminds me of that team earnings flag from a couple weeks ago that just went from 350 to what's it at, like 415 now, a couple weeks later. So really nice setup there under 520.
Cool. Con, I saw you raise your hand. You want to go next?
Yeah. I was kind of looking at this on PRGS. It's still very early, but it gapped up on earnings to our resistance the third time.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
We can just keep an eye on that for like, but it's definitely going to take some time. I think for it to build like a flag near the resistance.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, yeah, it's hard to buy it today, or from Friday being up 15%, but yeah, definitely looks good at time. Definitely want to keep on the radar for sure. Good eye on that one. All right, we got a few minutes for the open. Anybody else? All right, guys. So good first time doing this. I think this was a little bit easier for me, just kind of running through the charts first, having to keep resharing. So maybe next week when we do this, we'll just kind of do the same thing and call it out. I'll type it up and you can walk us through it. Hope you guys had a good time in this first little call with us, and get ready for the open. All right, guys.
Thank God it's Monday. See ya.
Hey,
Yo,
Thank you.
see ya.
Yeah,
go get that bread.
Thanks.
Just chat off.